guys, and welcome to the Aspiring Home Cook. My name is Trisha, and in today's video I'm going to share with you my favorite recipe for a stunning Thai style chili basil fried rice. There's loads of different recipes out there for this kind of a fried rice. Today's recipe is one that I've created to replicate the fried rice that I get at one of my favorite local Thai restaurants. And the best part is this is a plant-based recipe, so everyone can enjoy it. Now this is a super quick recipe which takes just a little bit of advanced prep, and it turns out so delicious you're going to love it. Let's get started with today's recipe. Now to make a good fried rice, you're going to need to start with your base of rice. I've just used a regular long grain basmati rice. This is something that I use all the time and tend to have on hand. Now the trick to making a good fried rice is prepping and cooking that rice ahead of time. I would recommend cooking this at least a few hours before you intend to make that fried rice, or even better, you can make this the previous day or simply use leftover rice if you've got that on hand. Now I've used 2/3 of a cup of rice that is sufficient for 2 generous adult portions. You're going to wash and soak your rice for about 30 minutes and cook it till it's done about 80% of the way. You don't want the rice to be too soft, otherwise it's going to disintegrate in your fried rice. Now this recipe is not for the faint-hearted, however you can adjust the amount of spice in it. We like a nice potent spicy fried rice, so I'm using 3 Thai bird's eye chilies. If you're not too keen on the spice levels, you can use a milder chili. You can use some cayenne peppers if you'd like, or you can even use bell peppers, but the flavors won't be the same. So I've got 3 chilies and I've got 4 cloves of garlic here. You can see a couple of them are fairly large. Adjust the amount of garlic you're using accordingly. I've peeled the garlic and I've roughly chopped the chilies and the garlic down. This needs to be ground to a fairly coarse paste. You can use a mortar and pestle and do that. Sprinkle a little salt and crush it till everything is coarsely ground. I usually just pop it into the blender and pulse it a few times till it is coarsely ground. It just takes a few seconds and makes everything a lot easier. You should end up with a coarse paste that looks like this. Like you can see, there's still a few chunky bits of that garlic and chili, and that's perfectly fine. That's exactly how we want it. And we're going to set this aside and move on to making our sauce. Now typically this particular fried rice uses oyster sauce and fish sauce, and I was very eager to transform this into a plant-based recipe, so I've made a few changes and substitutions. The first one being miso. I'm using about a teaspoon of red miso paste. If you have white miso paste, that will work too. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. You can use tamari as well. Next, we're going to add a vegetarian version of the oyster sauce. Now, this is a mushroom-based sauce, and I'm going to add about 1.5 tablespoons of this sauce. To this, I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper powder. And to balance out all of these beautiful flavors, we're going to add a little bit of sugar. I'm using 1 scant tablespoon of raw cane sugar. You can substitute this with regular white sugar, but I would recommend dropping that quantity of sugar down in that case. And we're simply going to stir everything together, make sure that that miso has blended in with the other ingredients in that sauce really well, and that there are no lumps left and everything's a nice thick, almost free-flowing sauce. You can use the back of your spoon to break down any lumps of pepper powder or that miso so that it incorporates into that sauce better. Now once that's done, set this aside, and we're going to use this later when we actually start cooking our fried rice. Now the next ingredient, and I believe the absolute star of this dish, is your Thai basil. Try and get your hands on it. It takes your fried rice to the next level of deliciousness. I've just got a small handful over here because this is all I could harvest from my backyard. We've been going through it like crazy. You can use a little more if you'd like. We're only going to use the leaves, not the stalks. So I'm just going to take the leaves off and prep it for use later. On to our veggies. For today's recipe, I'm using 1 onion that I've cut into thick slices, and I've separated those layers of those onion slices. It helps stir fry a lot easier. I've got 1 zucchini that I've cut in half lengthways and then sliced it into thick slices, and I've done the same to 1 carrot. Over here, I've got about 4 to 5 mushrooms that I've roughly sliced and a few broccoli florets. Now, I've cut these down into slightly smaller pieces because I'm just going to stir fry them directly. I like my vegetables to be on the slightly crunchy side in stir fries and even in this fried rice. If you'd like your vegetables to be cooked a little further, you can go ahead and either steam the broccoli before using it or just simply stir fry it a little longer. Now it's time to finally cook our fried rice. I've got a large wok on some high heat. Now for this rice to be really tasty, you're going to need to cook this nice and quick and on a high heat. I'm using a little bit of peanut oil today. You can use regular vegetable oil if you'd like. And you can see my pan is nice and hot, so I'm now ready to add my vegetables. I'm going to start off with my mushrooms. I like the mushrooms to get a little bit of color on them before I can add the rest of the veggies in. I'm going to give that a quick stir, and you can already see it's starting to develop a little color. Now the flavors that it develops from cooking on a nice high heat like this is what makes this rice so special. The mushrooms absorb a fair bit of oil, so if you feel the need to, you can add a little more oil like I have, and I'm going in with the sliced onions. Now, like you can see, because we'd separated the onion layers, it's so much easier to get them frying. And like you can see, the edges of those slices have already started developing a little color. The vegetables cook really quickly here, so go by feel. You can taste as you go to check how far your vegetables have cooked if you're not very sure. I'm adding the broccoli in next because I know that's going to take a little bit longer to cook since I haven't steamed or cooked them prior to adding them. Give everything a good stir. Keep things moving in the pan so that the vegetables don't burn. Now all this while the wok has been on high heat and I'm going to leave it at that till the end of the cooking process. Next I'm adding in the carrot. The reason I'm adding these vegetables in stages is so that I maintain that heat level in the pan. If I add everything at one go, it's going to drastically drop the heat level in that pan and things will not sear like I want them to. Once the carrot has had a little time in the pan, I'm going to add my zucchini. Zucchini cooks the fastest, so I'm just looking to get a little bit of color going on it. I don't want it to turn to mush. If at any point you feel that the pan is too dry, you can add a little more oil to the pan. And you're going to stir fry the vegetables till they cook to your liking. Like I said, I like mine slightly on the crunchier side, so you can adjust the cooking time at this stage to suit your liking. If you want your vegetables cooked a little more, just stir fry them for that little bit longer. Once the vegetables have cooked to your liking, add in your coarsely ground chili and garlic. Make sure you've got your exhaust on because the chili and garlic has quite a kick to it. Stir fry everything well. You're trying to make sure that all of that chili and garlic has coated the vegetables in the wok. And once that's done, give your sauce a nice stir and add that to the wok. I'm adding just about a tablespoon of water in there to catch all that sauce that was left in the bowl. Stir that around and I'm adding that to the wok and give everything a quick toss. And immediately go in with your rice. Once the rice is in the wok, gently stir things through. You're going to attempt to coat all of that rice with the sauce and the vegetables and help everything incorporate really well. I let this continue cooking on high heat for about 20 to 30 seconds or until all of that sauce has been soaked up by that rice and the rice has had a chance to heat through. Once that's done, your fried rice is ready. You can turn the heat off and take it off the heat immediately. And once you've taken the rice off the heat, you're going to add in those Thai basil leaves. It's important to do this after the rice is off the heat, otherwise the leaves will just wilt and turn a really dark color, and that destroys a lot of the flavor and the aesthetics of the dish as well. Give everything a good mix to distribute those basil leaves well. And we're ready to serve. In most restaurants, you'll find your typical Thai-style fried rice like this, topped off with a fried egg. Since I'm keeping this plant-based, we're going to leave the egg out. I'm going to top this up with a few more chili slices. Of course, you can leave this out if you'd like. And serve this up with a few slices of cucumber and a little wedge of lime. And here you go, guys. You've got yourself a stunning vegan version of your favorite Thai chili basil fried rice. Cannot wait to dig in. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of that lime juice over the top. This lime juice livens all those flavors in that rice and freshens it up. And we're ready to dig in. This rice is chock full of veggies and is so beautifully flavored. I promise you, you're not even going to miss the meat in this one. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe, guys. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with family and friends that you think might enjoy it. As always, I'll leave a link to the recipe down in the description box below for you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Once you do, click on that little bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm going to see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.